I think that's what it is.
I think that means we're live.
There it
Is what
is.
that click means. Yeah. All right. So we had like no real promotion. I know you threw a tweet out
A tweet.
like an hour ago, and I posted the
Yeah.
link. Like I posted the StreamYard, and it sent to YouTube like 2 hours ago. So I'm not sure how many people are going to immediately join, but welcome in everybody. We are going to do a Superflex Dynasty startup mock draft on Sleeper.
Superflex is important. It's not one
Superflex.
QB. It's not rookie. It is Superflex. It is a startup. Those are the things you need to know.
Yes. Yep. So I threw the Sleeper link down in the comments on YouTube. So if you would like to participate, if you've got some time over the next 45 minutes or an hour or something like that, and you want to do a mock draft with us, then the link is down in the comments on YouTube, and just claim a team. And as soon as the mock is full, then we'll get going. We already have five teams already filled, counting Justin and I. So we need 7 more, and then we'll get going.
Until then, ask questions. Literally, whatever you guys got. This is, use it as your Q&A time.
Yeah. I wonder if we chose Monday afternoon as the wrong time.
Here's the thing. I was at Lollapalooza last night, so obviously I wasn't working today. So I figured, why not do a stream? And this is the time to do it, I think.
It works out well on Friday, but maybe it's because people are like, well, Friday's the weekend. We don't really care about what's going on at work. But Monday's like grind day at work.
No, that's Sunday scaries. You know, coming off of Sunday, you're fine. Nobody's in a groove yet. I don't do shit on Mondays. That's just not a thing.
Yeah. Save it off for Tuesday and Wednesday. Toronto Dave in the chat. He's always in here. What's up, Dave?
What's going on, Dave?
It's going. It's going.
It is going. All right, we're up to 6. Let's keep it moving. And honestly, Addison, I say give it a couple of minutes, and if we don't fully fill, let's run it anyways. Let's just go.
Sure.
I haven't done a startup in a while, and I am gearing up for the DLF Listener League, Member League, whatever we're calling it. And I need to shake off the startup rust.
Yeah, I know. It feels like it's something that you need to keep those skills polished, like you continually need to, if you're not doing actual startups, you need to at least be drafting mocks to understand player value, see how ADP kind of shakes out. And you just hone in that. And it's different because in August now too, like, it's easy to get into that redraft mindset.
Yeah.
A lot of these players and stuff, like we love Keenan Allen, we love James Conner, there's some older vets and stuff that fit the redraft mold, but don't necessarily fit that dynasty mold, and so those player values need to shift a little bit when they're going from dynasty to redraft and back to dynasty.
Exactly. Well, and this is the time I think you end up seeing more people go win now in startups. Like when you're drafting, changes I think how you should approach your startup draft, because if you're drafting in March, everybody's going to want to go young. Everybody wants rookie picks. Everybody wants like the youth to build up because it's 10 times more fun to have a young team in March. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have production, it's not going to matter. So I think come August, people skew a little bit older in their startups. All right, we got 5 spots left here. 4 spots left. Saw somebody switch picks. 4 slots left.
The
chat is in, or the link is in the chat. So let's fill this up while we can, and then we'll get running here.
Or we're just going a couple minutes.
Either way. Either way. But
do people join after we start? Is that a thing?
No. Nope. No. It locks you in.
Come on, Sleeper.
I know.
I guess I don't know how that would probably be a mess on the back end code wise.
I said that with 100% confidence, and I have no clue at all.
Oh.
I could not tell you. All right, we have 4 spots open. Let's throw it back out onto Twitter, and let's see what we're working with here.
You're tweeting things out.
I'll tweet it. Oh, that's not what I highlighted at all. All right, that or we just go. It's up to you. 3. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there.
While we're waiting, guys, too, I see we have 20 people here watching. If you guys have any questions, you got AMAs, you got dynasty trades you want to talk about, some, training camp news that's happening you want to get opinions on or anything like that, toss it down in the chat. and we'll go through those two, and then we can go through them periodically if we have time throughout the startup, like through the mock as well. Because Justin and I are kind of scattered. I'm at 106, Justin's at 111, so we got half a round in between the two of us. There we go.
There you go. 2 spots. Let's keep doing this.
2 spots left, but MV asks, are you guys big on Trey Lance long term? From a dynasty perspective, how do you feel about Trey Lance?
It's really difficult to be in on Trey Lance right now. Like, I think Trey Lance, when he starts, and I do think he will start at some point, is going to be very good for fantasy purposes. But now he's entering year 3. Typically, you have a couple year leeway to find out if they're legitimate or not. I don't know if Trey Lance gets that leash. So you may only get 1 season of him being a great fantasy asset, but then he gets relegated back to a backup role because teams don't want to wait. If I have him, I'm holding him. I'm not actively buying. I'm not actively selling. I'm just kind of waiting to see how it shakes out, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically it. Because I do think that if he doesn't start for the Niners this year, or is not in their long-term plans, like Brock Purdy actually ends up being, their long-term solution, that he then does get traded. I don't think they hold on to an asset like Trey Lance while they have Brock Purdy, and that could open up an opportunity for Lance to get traded and start somewhere else and potentially, kind of restart his career on a new team. So there is that upside too. So I mean, there's nothing really that you can do with Trey Lance right now, I don't think, other than like if he's your QB3, because you've made moves to build around the fact that there's so much uncertainty with him. If he's your QB3 and you're able to switch from him and go to somebody like Jordan Love or Geno Smith.
Smith, yes, not Jordan Love.
Love, I feel like at least Love has similar upside, but he's playing. Like, he's starting.
He's not going to run like Lance will.
No, but I think that the upside.
That's the upside that
he's a long-term starter in the Green Bay Packers offense with Christian Watt. Like, I think if Jordan Love's a hit, that means Christian Watson's a hit. Jayden Reed might be a pretty solid, like wide receiver selection for them. Aaron Jones is still there for at least this year. There's opportunity for Jordan Love that if he hits, he'll be good.
I agree. I just don't think he hits. They stopped streaming the Packers scrimmage. Jordan Love was doing terrible. They literally just cut the stream off.
Did you see the 2 clips that posted yesterday? They had those 2 clips. The one
they got 2 clips out of it. Good for them.
Little sidearm throw to Aaron Jones.
Oh, the one where he was going to be sacked if it was a real play. Yeah, I saw that one.
Yep.
I refuse to believe Jordan Love is good. I can't. All right, we're filled. We got
filled though.
12. Let's share it.
Nobody saw it.
I saw it. It was there. There we go. Let's run it. Oh, you got the volume off and everything.
I do. So, I'm already prepared. I learned from my mistakes.
Your 101. It's Mahomes though, right? Like, that's where it should go.
Yes, Patrick Mahomes. Good job, Gatorators.
The first 3 feel like they've just become penciled in.
Yeah. Because I really like, I do think my personal,
never mind.
My personal feelings on the quarterbacks is Mahomes, Allen, Hurts. They're all in they're all in the same tier. Honestly, I feel like if you had Mahomes as a tier of his own, even if it was like a half tier step up, that's fine too, because it's just Patrick Mahomes. But I think those 3.
You're at the spot where it gets interesting. Well, I think it gets a little interesting if Jefferson's on the board.
Yes and no, because like I feel like my decision right now is between Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson. I feel like if Jefferson wasn't on the board, one of those 2 would have been gone. Thus, I would have had an easier selection of just taking whoever's left. So now I have to make an actual decision, I feel like, between Herbert and Lamar. And I don't like that. Can I trade back?
No, you there's no trading. You are locked in at 6. I think, to me, I think that's the right pick.
They're both so good. But...
Right. Oh, I mean, yes, they're great. But I just think Herbert's better. Like as from an actual quarterback standpoint, I think Justin Herbert is better. And this year we're about to get a ridiculous Justin Herbert season.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. But I also think we're going to get a ridiculous Lamar season.
I hope so. I am so overweight on both of them.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
I hate this spot. I hate this spot on the board.
You were hoping for Fields?
Obviously, always. I'm hoping for Justin Fields in every single scenario. But like you're sitting here, there's not a quarterback. I always want to try to grab a quarterback first 2 rounds. I don't want to grab Anthony Richardson in the first. That feels like it's too much. I hate going running back early, but we're going to do it. RB1, give me Bijan. It's just a weird spot there when you have like a massive tier break, I think, at quarterback here.
Yeah. I think the only other, CeeDee Lamb was, I think, the only other player in consideration. Was do you want to build with CeeDee Lamb or do you want to build with Bijan Robinson, who I think both are fantastic options if you're still building and competing for now, but then also, over the next 3-4 years, they're both going to be great too, because Bijan's just Bijan.
I'm just not having fun here. All right. Screw it. Give me AJB. All right. I'm fine with that. Like if I'm not going to go quarterback, give me a top 5 wide receiver and a top 2 running back, in terms of like actual production. I think he's probably a top 2 running back this year. So I'm into it.
There you go.
Yeah. It's a massive tier break at quarterback at 10. Like it is a steep drop off.
So let's get into that a little bit, because I mentioned Justin Fields. You obviously wanted Justin Fields. Whiskey Traveler had a question here. Oh, it covers us up. Dang it. Does Fields make the leap a la Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts? If we assume not, is he a good player to sell high on right now?
I'm a Bears fan, so I'm going to recuse myself because in my mind, he has to, or I'm going to jump. So Addison, you can answer this one.
I don't think he makes a Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts level leap, because I feel like both those players were better players prior to acquiring.
Make your pick and then go.
I was kind of eyeing both of these and trying to do them simultaneously, but I guess
make your pick and then get back into your question.
I don't like the pick. Okay, so
yeah, love it.
Justin Fields is a worse quarterback prior to getting the upgrade. Josh Allen was a better quarterback prior to getting Stephon Diggs. Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback before getting AJ Brown. So there is that. DJ Moore himself is a worse wide receiver than Stephon Diggs and AJ Brown. Not to say that he's a bad wide receiver. He's just not the caliber of alpha wide receiver-ness that both of those players are, going to quarterbacks that were better passing quarterbacks than Justin Fields.
Rates similarly to Diggs pre-trade. Just going to throw it out there. But I'll throw that out there.
Okay.
Production-wise, it's similar enough. Diggs is better, but production-wise, it's similar.
It's okay. So
I have to push a little bit.
So I don't think that he makes the Allen and Hurts leap, but I do think that he's going to be a better passer. Now there is that conundrum of if he becomes a better passer, does his rushing volume and rushing efficiency drop because he's passing more? You only have so many plays per game, right? So if your pass percentage skews higher, then your run percentage has to drop a little bit too. Or instead of taking off and scrambling, that converts into a 40-yard pass, which is still great for NFL, but for fantasy, a 40-yard pass versus a 40-yard run, that's different for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So I don't think that he makes the massive leap, but I do think that he's going to be still good enough to where the rushing is going to vault him up and just put him inside the top 10 automatically. Like that's baseline floor. Then the
ceiling is QB1 overall. Like that is the ultimate ceiling, and it's there
with touchdowns. It is like how Lamar was in his 2019 season. He threw for like 30 touchdowns on
exactly. It has to come. It has to come with touchdowns. You're not getting anywhere with that touchdown. Look at Herbert last year. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think he gets there. I think he just is borderline top 5, and that's where he's at.
Yep. So while you're up making your pick here, I think it's interesting seeing Tyreek Hill over Chris Olave. I think it's interesting seeing Stephon Diggs over like a T. Higgins. Like I get the production, but you're looking at guys that are 29, about to be 30 years old. Though those teams have to go win now, and Burrow, Hill, Diggs, terrifying, but in 2 years, it's drastically different. So those are things that when you're looking through different builds, you have to kind of factor in like that team has to go win now at this point.
Yes. And that's a kind of a tribute to what you saying at the beginning of this was when you start doing startups in late July, early to mid August, that you start seeing these teams and these veterans that are more win now moving up and skewing more towards playing for the 2023 season, which I mean, I don't think Tyreek Hill over Chris Olave is them necessarily saying I'm in 2023. I feel like that's a pretty close enough, like
it's
in terms of dynasty values at the receiver position. But then to follow it up and then go with Stephon Diggs, I feel like that's really locking in Mike there. Not to say that that's a bad way to go about it, but that's just you when you're going through these startups and you're a couple rounds in, you can start to recognize which teams are starting to favor, a productive struggle building for the long term with youth and upside, and which teams are starting to favor trending towards competing in 2023, 2024, and then they'll figure out what's going on after that. And that's then how you can determine moving around the draft board, which teams to target by acquiring their first round picks, which teams that you could target by giving them their first round, your first round pick. And like you can make a whole bunch of moves by identifying those teams right off the bat that we're already starting to see right now through 3 rounds. And I'm having
a terrible time. I'm having a terrible time.
Well, I saw you wanted Dak.
Wanted Dak, wanted Tua. Figured one would fall. Neither did. That's a gut punch. Like, I don't want to grab Cooper Kupp here. I don't really want to grab Jonathan Taylor. Although
Kyler is still there.
Kyler is still there. I got 2 QBs in my mind. Taylor sitting there as like RB7 off the board is ridiculous.
Kyle Pitts is also there if you want to go for some Falcons. You can honestly go for the Falcon trifecta.
Let's get weird. Give me Jonathan Taylor. RB7 off the board. I am fine with that. Like from a pure value standpoint, going this late, I'm in. Like I am in at that price.
Yeah, because I just pulled up the other running backs that are available right now. Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs.
Massive tiers.
Massive Harris, Ramondre, and Tony Pollard. And we talked about Jonathan Taylor in the video that we dropped on Wednesday. And I kind of said that he's similar-ish to a Tony Pollard and Josh Jacobs. I expect both of them to outproduce Jonathan Taylor this year. And then we kind of have contract weirdness.
And this is what I wanted.
There
we go. Give me Kyler. Give me my upside quarterback. This year probably won't be all that fun, but I'm fine. JT's not falling off the face of the earth. Bijan, AJ Brown aren't going anywhere. Kyler gives me a top 10 quarterback in 2024. So I'm good with how that shakes out. Again, the Jonathan Taylor thing is strictly a value. I'm not looking to start 2 running back, but when he's sitting there that late, I am totally fine with it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's especially interesting, not only where he went positionally, but also where he went amongst the other positions, when he's going behind Jackson Smith and Jigba. So that basically says that Jonathan Taylor is now worth the 107 plus, or at least the 1.06 in superflex rookie drafts. Like, I feel like that's kind of crazy considering that we could argue that he's worth 101, 102.
Exactly. Well, yeah, maybe not 101 this year, but yeah, I agree. So it's, Taylor that late is shocking. And I get a lot of it's situationally based right now. I don't think it has anything to do with people saying, oh, JT sucks, but we just don't know where he's playing. And here's the thing. This league's not happening. I'm much less worried about situation. I am much less worried about situation on a team that I never have to start.
Well, we'll see how it goes. If you have to, I hope you get the 111 now in our listener league, and then you're looking at Jonathan Taylor right there, staring at this exact situation.
Dude, okay. I also do love the idea of buying Kyler. Like Kyler, if he's healthy, is not a 4th round pick. And obviously he's not healthy. But you're looking long-term over the next couple of seasons. When Kyler plays, he's top 10. He is a guaranteed, like locked-in top 10 quarterback. It's not going to be fun in 2023 at all, but 2024 is going to be great. Like he'll bounce back, whether it's with the Cardinals or they go with Caleb Williams and move Kyler. Kyler's going to be playing somewhere and running a lot.
Dave.
Oh, thank you, Dave.
Now I have a decision. I don't like that at all.
Take Kenneth Walker. He's sitting right there, man.
The wide receiver position just got so gross after Cooper Kupp. I mean, Devontae's going to be great for 2023, but that really forces my hand in terms of where I'm going. Like, if this league were real, about where I'm headed in 2023. But I can't really justify taking any of these other wide receivers ahead of Devontae Adams. Hawkinson is there, I guess. I like Hawk.
I like Hawkinson. Tight end 4 is nice. Yeah, so you can't really go Stroud. I mean, you can because if you want to just go pure value route, but it's a weird build, and you're drafting to trade, which sucks.
I probably should have taken Josh Jacobs, but
that feels like a panic.
Tony Pollard.
I do too, but that feels like a panic pick.
I think it was a panic pick. I just saw the name and I said, "Yo, I really like you, Tony Pollard. I really like you."
That felt like pure panic. But I do think Tony Pollard has an outside shot. You want to talk about like a dark horse RB1 candidate?
Tony Pollard.
Dark horse. I mean, he's getting drafted RB7, RB8, but still, Tony Pollard.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to absolutely smash this year.
And Jacobs went right after him. And Hawkinson went, okay. All the players that I was at least thinking about, it kind of makes me feel better that they all went next.
Right. So what are your thoughts here with, as I see it happen, Justin Jefferson, Breece Hall, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud?
That is a young roster right there.
I like it. I like it because you're not expecting to get like Breece Hall this year. I mean, you can take young quarterbacks and just bank on a year 2 breakout for both of them. Like for Young and Stroud, from a fantasy perspective, I kind of like that. Like they've essentially punted this year and are just gearing up to be young. Like that's why you say though, like look at the teams around you. Like that team's going to be going young. They will be drafting youth most likely the majority of this draft. So understand that if you think somebody's going to get back to you on the turn.
Now, on the flip side, I'm looking at Caleb's team out of the 102. Josh Allen, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chris Olave, and then went Christian Watson, and he's going to be up again. He's on deck right now. I'm really liking the way that he's built his team as well. He's got that stud QB1. He's locked in there. He's got 2 really good, potentially really good, young wide receivers. Jahmyr Gibbs, we both love. We absolutely love.
There's a little Jahmyr Gibbs video coming tomorrow. Check that out.
At RB5. You got him at RB5.
Yeah, that's where like I'm not taking Saquon Barkley over Gibbs in any world. I think that's crazy. And again, I prefer him over a lot of people, but again, we'll break it down in tomorrow's video. But yeah, I love Gibbs at 5 there.
Let's see. I want to see what Caleb does here. Come on, Caleb, don't ruin this.
Eyes on you.
Come on, Caleb.
There's a correct pick. There's a correct pick with this roster.
Kenny pick. Oh.
Kenny pick. Yep, that's the pick.
Jordan Addison, let's go.
That's the pick. Again, people will say, well, you have both of the the Vikings wide receivers. Doesn't matter. If you're not trying to win this year, who cares where the talent comes from? It's utterly irrelevant. People get so bogged down on that.
I'm almost up. I'm trying to look at other teams and see what they're doing. I'm really curious. Is this Rory? The person picking out of the 103 who took Justin Jefferson. Are you in the chat right now? Because I would love to hear. Not that I hate it. I just want to know why you went Jefferson 103.
Oh, wait. Jefferson, I thought was on Caleb's team. I was reading teams wrong. Yes.
I ignored it. I just kind of, I knew you were wrong, but I chose to ignore it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But I'm just curious why Jefferson over Hurts and Burrow and Herbert is you just knew that there was going to be quarterback value later, that this was kind of how you were aiming for the roster build. That
I'm
just wanted Justin Jefferson. I'm just curious.
He may not be in the chat, Addison.
He may not be. I'm just curious. What other?
I would just like to know.
I would like to know.
What are you doing here? Where are you going? Oh, I love that.
That's a fantastic question, isn't it? I only have one wide receiver through 4 rounds. It's weird. Feels weird.
Yeah, same. Very anti what I typically do and preach. Oops.
Jerry Judy. There we go.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that the right pick?
I love that pick there.
Would that have been a better pick at 5'11", maybe?
At 5'11", where's yeah, it would have been the best pick. That's would have been the correct pick. Oh, look at man, George Pickens is sitting there. We should take him. I got shredded by Steelers fans on Twitter because I made a George Pickens joke and it kind of went semi-viral and I regretted it immediately.
Never make a George Pickens joke on Twitter.
They're very sensitive fans. Like they're very sensitive. I got called, I don't know if I can say it on this channel, but I got called pumpkin bitch a lot. they really leaned into that one hard.
Oh my God.
They found one they liked and they stuck with it.
Kudos to them though, you know.
One guy said it and it was that like 15 followed. I was like, God, it's just getting skewered. So this is an interesting spot, I think. And like the back of this draft, like back of round 5, early 6, especially when you're looking at the teams around me. Like it's us 3 basically that don't have quarterbacks. And it's a very weird situation to be in, looking at the turn, knowing I probably have to reach on ADP because he's going to grab a quarterback.
Oh,
that is not the quarterback I expected to go.
Well, hey,
but again,
let him go. Let him go that route. He wants to do it.
Love it. But like again, like this is where read the board, read what other people in your draft are doing. My guess is Misik is looking to grab 1 or 2 quarterbacks because it's round 5 of a super flex league. So do I really want to grab a quarterback here? Not necessarily. I'd rather get them on the turn, but I don't think Kirk Cousins makes it back to me. So I'm going to go there because it looks as if 1 or 2 quarterbacks should go at the turn. And to me, that's a tier break. There goes Goff and potentially Geno. But like that's where I think if I don't take Cousins, I significantly would rather have Cousins over Goff. Goff's coming off of a great year, but historically, if things are not 100% perfect for Jared Goff, he's like a top 20 quarterback where Kirk Cousins is top 14. So it's enough of a break. See, there we go. That is how that works.
As I predicted. Now, I think a question here would be, because I know that there's I think one quarterback in particular that I know that you really like right now. I'm curious if you would consider going that route, that you have Kyler Murray to give you more of an advantage in 2023.
I think there's enough talent late that I'm not grabbing Russ, but
okay. That was it.
I agree. Yeah. Look at the other piece of this is I have 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
If I make it to round 7 with 1 wide receiver, that's got to be illegal. So we're not going that route. Instead, I will take DJ Moore here. Again, do I love DJ Moore in 2023? Not necessarily. I think he has a chance to be top 24 wide receiver. But long term, again, I think that situation continues to improve as Justin Fields does. So I'm in on DJ Moore just as a talent still. I'm good. I'm good grabbing him this late, especially with more of a competitive build considering 2 running backs early.
Sure. Yeah, it's certainly not bad, especially if he gives you the floor, I think. Is that you can try to find some upside with some wide receivers later on.
Yep.
But DJ Moore will give you, I think, a nice floor because he should have a really good target share. He might have a little bit of inconsistency because of the nature of the Bears offense, and DJ Moore himself has just kind of been inconsistent on a weekly basis before.
Yeah.
But, I feel like, at the end of the day, you're getting a top 25 wide receiver. Now, whether or not he shies more towards top 15 or he shies more towards top 25, that's kind of where the question lies with how good is Justin Fields going to be this year and how much does he grow and develop. But that you're getting a top 25 guy.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I view it the same way. I view it the exact same way. And I think, again, talent-wise, the man just soaks up targets. It's just a matter of how much do the Bears actually throw. Like, if they're not over 400 this year, I'm going to be shocked. Like there's going to be a significant turnaround, I think.
Toronto Dave out here. If you want to talk about competing 2023 lineups,
yep.
Derrick Henry in the 6th. Oh my goodness. He's
That
even saying he's like, I don't like to go this vet heavy, but just played out like it.
Yeah.
Sometimes
exactly.
that's just how you go. Man, I'm really looking at. We haven't had a tight end go off in almost 2 rounds, and I keep looking at the tight end position, but I don't think I can do it. I think
I don't want Kittle.
I need some Christian Kirk in my life.
I love Christian Kirk, dude. This year, him and Ridley are both just going to be so good. They're going to be so unbelievably good this year.
Mm-hmm.
People are just asleep at the wheel on Christian Kirk.
And I got a round discount, basically.
Yeah, it's great. What do you have? Almost a full round.
Yeah.
He's only 26. Like, there's just – he's not going to disappear. I just don't get it.
No, I love it. I mean, and when you look at the other wide receivers, like there's a bunch of questions with – I mean, you look at the 2022 rookies. There's Pickens, there's Burks, there's Jameson, there's Dotson. What is any of those for? McLaurin's nice, but he's also going to be like 28 if he's not already 28.
Yep.
Amari is so close to 30 as well, even though I think that he's going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
You got Zay Flowers, you got Hollywood, who might have a rough 2023 season. Like,
yeah, Kadarius Toney.
I'm just he is there. That is a person that you can draft at this point.
I would simply not if it was me, but you guys can. You're more than welcome to draft all the Kadarius Toney you want.
I'm really hoping that Caleb doesn't ruin this build because he's got a fantastic build.
Caleb, you're gonna get a DM from us if you screw this up.
Caleb.
We got a trade question in the chat, Addison, if you want to pull it up.
Oh, let's see. Fancy Condo. Made a trade in my league last week. Traded Javonte in a 24 first, which he's estimating to be mid to late, for Brees in a 25 third in a 10-team superflex start 12. He should be competitive. Thoughts? How do we feel about it? Javonte in a mid to late first for Brees Hall.
Love it. Love it. That is a great trade.
It's fantastic.
Just there's no notes. 10 out of 10.
Javonte Williams, and I'm gonna say it's gonna end up being the 112 because you're gonna win that league. I don't know what your roster looks like, but I have faith in you. You're gonna win.
If people are doing that trade, you're gonna do it.
Javonte in the 112 for Brees Hall. Brees Hall. Easy.
Jameson Williams. You couldn't draft a higher upside wide receiver, I think, in that range. I don't love Jameson. I like Jameson Williams, but it's getting real difficult to keep defending him.
I think
I liked him coming out, but it's getting real hard to defend that man.
Yeah, I think he still has the opportunity. Like he's gonna come out in week 7, and if he's not performing by Thanksgiving, boy, like the
value's gone. It tanks. It's gonna tank fast.
It's gonna be pretty bad.
Also, I just want to talk about the picks at the turn. Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson. I love both of those players. From a value standpoint, from a production standpoint, they're both going to be very good this year. I'm also happy somebody took Deontay over Pickens. That's good work.
Caleb follows it up with Dalton Kincaid.
Who else is out there? I'm not taking Kincaid over Goddard, but I get it. With the build, I get it.
You're really Caleb. I love it. I don't have any notes. Just keep doing you.
No notes. It was Pierce off the board.
Yeah, I'm looking at really like Amari. Toronto Dave also really likes Amari and Deontay as well.
Yeah,
let's see. I think there are some other questions up in here too.
Up in here.
Keeper league question. He took Lamar in the 6th round last year. Should he keep him in that round?
Who else can you keep?
I was gonna say, yeah. I feel like that's dependent on who else you have.
But Lamar in the 6th actually doesn't feel that crazy anymore. He's like he's a 5th round pick now, I think. So in a 1 QB at least, if that's super flex,
like just normal.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good if it's like him and you're like, oh, well, I could keep this wide receiver 2 in the 8th round, I'd be like, well, I'd rather just have Lamar,
Yes, agree. Take the floor. You know what you're getting. Lamar is going to be good. And yes, he might get hurt. But yes, so might every other quarterback in the league. So,
Mike, you said Dallas Goedert's name when you were talking about Kincaid, and I knew somebody was going to take him. I almost took him last round.
Dude, take Kittle. You're 2 rounds after ADP almost.
Yeah, I think
Kittle is starting to really slip.
Yeah, he is.
Which I mean, I get it. Well, I know obviously Daigle over on 4 for 4. Marco over on 4 for 4. Footballers put out a recent podcast talking Kittle down. Like Kittle's going to continue to slip pretty far. The noise is getting really loud.
And Daigle's argument was sound. The only issue is not really an issue, but it's just like an occurrence that seems to be prevalent in the Niners offense is that Daigle's argument against Kittle was his target share when Debo, McCaffrey, Ayuk, and Kittle were all on the field, like in those games. The problem is that they're not all 4 on the field a whole lot.
Right. Like that's the thing. I think they played 2 games together last year.
Super, super unfortunate for the Niners. But it just like there's gonna be a lot of games where I'm really upset with George Kittle. But there's also going to be a lot of games where, there's going to be a few games where George Kittle almost like single-handedly wins me a week.
Like that's the thing. Like I am not in on Kittle this year, but you take him, he gives you spike weeks. And somebody was arguing like over the last couple of years, he's been inconsistent and not like actually good for fantasy. Like if you just take away the points per game, I was like, well, you can't take away the points per game because that's literally how we subscribe to value. Like he's routinely a top 3 tight end, but that's because also everybody is hurt all the time there. And that same group of people is probably going to get hurt this year at some point, one way or the other. So it's just, what do you do? Man, this is why I wish I needed a running back because I would scoop up Dobbins here, but I have to go wide receiver. Like I love Dobbins at this point. I still don't fully buy him being hurt. It really does feel like a contract thing. And they're just giving him the benefit of the doubt because all the fines are rescindable. So why even throw it out there? Yeah, so I'm going, give me a little bit of youth at wide receiver.
Nice. I like it.
I like Dotson there a lot.
I like that a lot too. It's very, very good.
I got one that I'm going to.
Pickens just a spike that.
Every time I make a tweet about Pickens, I get just skewered, and it pushes me farther and farther away from liking George Pickens, just out of spite. So I get it. And the thing is, I loved George Pickens coming out. Like last year, I was routinely pumping up George Pickens, but I just didn't see what I wanted to see from him. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to dig in. I'm going to go the other way. The route running is a legitimate issue. He can improve, but it's a lot more difficult to improve than people think. It's not as simple as, just practice, man. Like he does this full time anyways. He's been practicing for years.
Yeah.
You don't just magically turn into a great route runner.
Right.
I love both those picks. I love Dobbins. Love Elijah Moore.
Who are you going with here? Another wide receiver, perhaps?
I got one that's I'm gonna go a little win now. Give me Keenan.
There it is.
I freaking love Keenan Allen. I am gonna pound on the table for Keenan Allen this year in drafts. If you're a win now team in any dynasty league, Keenan Allen needs to be top of your list in terms of wide receivers you're going in and getting.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. He's, I think, locked in to be top 20, which is going to be valuable. And I think he finishes significantly higher than that. I think inside the top 12 is in the cards for Keenan Allen again. And you can get him for cheap because, I mean, he's old. He is a lot older right now than people think. I think he's 31 years old. So you get a year, maybe 2 of Keenan Allen, but it's going to be a damn good 2 years.
And I feel like it's funny that whenever I see people posting on Twitter and they're just like, oh, well, look at what Keenan Allen did over the second half of the season. Like he was on this pace. He had this target share, this rate, blah, blah, blah. Fantastic. And then there's like 5 or 6 comments that are just like, yeah, well, that's just how it is with Keenan Allen. Like, you just gotta, he's always hurt, but whenever he is healthy, he'll do well. And it's like, do you not realize that like prior to like last season,
Yeah.
Keenan Allen was like an Iron Man for like 4 seasons in a row after his
The
weird, like, what do you have, like a torn bladder or something like that?
lacerated kidney,
Yeah.
lacerated kidney. Like, he had freak accidents. He was not routinely hurt. He's on the injury list a ton. Like, that's true, but he's good. Like, and then that's the thing is people are like, well, I want upside with Keenan Allen. I was like, the man has been top 12 4 straight years, including multiple like top 6 seasons. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about here.
Where's the lack of upside?
If you take away the games he left early last year, he was wide receiver 6 in points per game. I was like, I don't know what else you want. Like, oh, he wasn't top 5. Guess what? Most people will never be top 5. And it also comes with the argument of, guys, we can't just strictly draft on upside because guess what? We're ceiling. Because guess what? Most players will never hit the ceiling that they're actually capable of producing with. So you have to factor in some.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, no. Did you say something?
No, I sneezed. It was my bad.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Christian Watson. That was crazy.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, it's like most people will never hit their actual ceiling. So take a guy whose floor is basically top 15. Like, that's not going to lose you a league, and he also carries enough upside to destroy that. That's my Keenan Allen rant because it's ridiculous every single season. Do it. Dude, both are great picks. DeAndre Swift is so good.
The Swift love is coming back into my heart.
And
I don't know if I can handle the pain of it again.
He's going so late now.
I just in the middle of the 8th round, after Miles Sanders, after Rachaad White, after Damian, like a whole round basically after Damian Pierce.
Oh, dude, that's blasphemous. They both could not be a starting running back next year. People do not factor that in.
Well, no, he's a fantastic runner of the football, Justin.
But no, I'm saying like in terms of like people take Pierce over him. It's like, well, he has the job locked up for the next couple of seasons. No, he does not.
He? No,
he does not. Like it is, they are equally as likely to not be a starter or in a prominent role the next. Okay, as I'm making fun of that pick, Charbonnet there, killer. Love that. That's so good.
This is why I like Caleb's team better than Rory's, is because he has the Damian Pierce blemish. Outside of that, he's basically perfect. But
I'm lower on QJ and Burks, so I got beef with that team. But that's my own personal. That makes sense with the build, but they're just not my favorite.
I just want to point out that, like, I'm looking at the running back room, the players that are still available at running backs. This right here is basically why I love not taking running backs early, because when you look at the wide receivers, like you're looking at guys. So DeAndre Hopkins is still there, Mike Evans, Tyler Lockett, Mike Williams. Those are your productive-ish vets that are still on the board right now. You have the whatever the heck Kadarius Toney is, you have whatever Rashad Bateman is, whatever Mingo is, whatever Rice and Gabe Davis are. Like, these are the wide receivers that we have right now. Whereas
Caleb's
the running backs,
on auto pick. I just want to pull out Caleb's on auto pick, and he's dead to me.
Well, Caleb got to steal
pick.
at Cam Akers. Even the computer is continuing his perfect build.
That's a good pick still. That's still such a good pick.
But this is what I mean. Like, when you look at the running backs that we're taking right now. So Dobbins went at the 7-8 turn. Then Rachaad White, Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, Zach Charbonnet, Cam Akers. You still got Aaron Jones out there if you need a productive veteran. Alexander Madison, I think, is going to have a pretty solid 2023. You got James Cook out there still. David Montgomery, who you made a video on talking about how he's going to be, just a solid top 24 guy. I love Antonio Gibson. Roshan Johnson is down in there too as maybe this year's Damian Pierce. Yeah. James Conner is still there again as a productive veteran. Like, there's just so many running backs down in here to just fill out your running back position that you don't necessarily need to, you don't need to take running backs early and build around the young, solid, almost insulated wide receivers and quarterbacks, and then here's where you grab all of your running backs.
Yeah, like you are just it's so solid this late. Like if you're wide receiver heavy and you can double tap, you could have double tapped Dobbins and Swift or Dobbins and Akers at the turn or whatever that was. I mean, I'm happy with the running back room. Like I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you're looking through here. Sam Laporta off the board. I like that a lot. I think Laporta in the 9th is nice.
I think Laporta over Waller and Njoku
nice.
and Ingram is an interesting. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong. I just feel like people would look at it and be like, wow, you took Laporta over all that guys. But yeah, with the build, it makes complete sense.
I was going to say, I'm trying to find a win now team. If you're big baby Wesh, like, and you take Laporta over Waller, that's surprising. But again, fit your build. That's where like ADP doesn't really matter. ADP in Dynasty startups is so overrated. Take the guys that fit your build, like reach. It doesn't matter.
Especially when we get down this late,
Values change drastically all the time.
Do you take a pick? Oh.
Did I? Yeah, your screen's back.
Uh-oh.
You're up. You have 30 seconds.
Why is it not loading?
Uh-oh. You didn't give me commission.
Hold on, wait. I'm going to stop sharing and see.
There it is.
15 seconds.
Well, draft off your phone, man.
No.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you get Connie? Are you son of a...
All right, let me get this back up.
I can't believe that crap. Are you kidding me? Dude, we're all spun around here. Move us
this
to
is
the
a
corner.
Mess. This is a mess. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Caleb getting forced to take Derek Carr there is very funny. I think it's fine, but it's very funny.
But he got Cam Akers.
He did get Cam Akers, but he also, again, damn it, Darren Waller. That's Toronto Dave double tap and tight end makes me angry. So I was hoping he would slip.
Yeah, he took. I wish I had a better screen, like a bigger screen.
Zoom out, man. Vertical. Zoom out.
You can zoom out in this?
Yeah. It's just like a window.
But then you can't really see the names, like on the stream. I'm looking after the people on YouTube.
I don't know what to tell you. You just got complaints and I can't help you.
All right.
I'm looking. The board is ugly. It is ugly.
There's some roses among the thorns in here, but it is pretty gross.
Like it's just productive vet season, like down here. That's it. Take your productive vets and move on. Because if things go sideways, you can flip them.
Yeah. Or, when you build around younger players that have upside but may not necessarily have quote unquote hit yet, then that's where you can fill out these productive players to give you somebody to start while you're waiting for those other young players to hopefully pan out and become hits. And that could be those could be decisions that make you competitive when you didn't actually think that you were. And if you become one of those teams that is like super young and building around high upside players and stuff, and you didn't move your first or second round picks, and you just ended up being very competitive anyway, those are the teams that I feel like end up becoming like dynasty teams, where they're really good this year. Then they have their future picks to then be good next year. And then the young guys that they took in the startup draft end up hitting, and some of them hit big. Then they're good the fall. It's all a big giant snowball from then on out.
I think when you get to this point in the draft, what ends up separating a lot of teams is the people that are willing to take productive veterans and not just take long shot upside rookies. Like that, I really like that type of build. Go early or go young early, and then you actually just grab people that are actually going to produce. Like I'll take Alexander Madison over Jonathan Mingo. Like they're in the same range, but I think Alexander Madison actually gives me value, and Mingo won't do a ton. So like that's where it's just a weird instance of trying to balance that out.
Yep, absolutely. That's where I feel like the perfect example of that is Kendry Miller versus Aaron Jones. Like I love Kendry Miller, but I feel like Aaron Jones is the better pick this late because Aaron Jones is going to be fantastic. And like I don't know how much stock you're putting into this whole Kareem Hunt thing. That was the first thing I thought of whenever I saw that Kareem Hunt was going to visit with the Saints. I was like, is this like, I see how this could be like, oh, well, they need a body for whenever Alvin Kamara is suspended. So it can't just be Jamal Williams and Kendry Miller. But at the same time, I feel like Kareem Hunt offers a more Kamara-y skill set.
Yep.
That Kendry and Jamal Williams don't have. So if Kendry Miller is not beating out Jamal Williams, this could be like a Jerome Ford situation, essentially, not to tie him to a previous teammate of Kareem Hunt's, but a player that I think had potential for an upside and hope for to ascend a roster, but just hasn't ultimately panned out. Now, of course, Jerome Ford wasn't going to beat out Nick Chubb, and Jerome Ford was drafted a few rounds later than Kendry Miller, but that's kind of how that was my first thought was not, oh no, they need help. It was, oh no, is this bad for Kendry Miller? Like, are they not seeing Kendry Miller develop as quickly as they wanted, and they need somebody else to come in?
Yeah, it's gonna. I have a lot of stock in Kendry Miller in best ball and other leagues, so I'd prefer something terrible doesn't happen. But like Kareem Hunt will limit Kendry Miller unless Kareem Hunt's legitimately just washed up and like last year wasn't a fluke and whatever else. Like Kendry Miller could beat him out and be very good. But again, we know Aaron Jones is good. Like to tie it back to what you're saying is like we know Aaron Jones is good. We know he's gonna get work. Give me that player all day long when I'm trying to compete. And also he'll have more value to flip as a contender or to a contender down the road if your team ends up not being good. Like that's the thing. If you tie yourself to all like the super young players, super young assets, you're way less willing to move them. And also like contending teams aren't going to trade for Jonathan Mingo. So like you're just kind of hoping he works because you're kind of boxed in to a super young team with no movable pieces if things go sideways.
Yeah. Even if that ends up being a second, that then helps you make a pick or make a trade down in the future,
Yep.
These are all moves that you can make with those productive veterans if you end up not being productive enough and need to sell them. Evan Ingram. I feel like that's good value for Evan Ingram there in the 10th round after Njoku and Waller. Kamara.
Somebody just tweeted at me like it was a gotcha moment. They were talking about an old Sky Moore tweet where I was like, trade him for a future second. Who cares? And he commented, he's like, what do you think now? I'm like, I still want the future second. Nothing has changed.
He
didn't even get taken in this draft. We're 10 rounds in. Give me the future second. If Caleb takes Sky Moore now just out of pure spite, I'm so
he's going to do it. Caleb is going to do it. Yeah, all right. Michael Mayer. That works.
Michael Mayer's a weird one. He feels like he'll end up being Freiermuth-esque.
Yeah.
Like, not a winner, but just solid, decent production. Go the way like a Jason Witten.
If he goes the way of a Jason Witten, that's
I'm saying like end of career Jason Witten.
Okay.
He's like back end tight end 10.
Like the Frank Gore of the tight end position.
Just kept coming back. It's him and Mercedes Lewis at this point.
Oh, no.
Won't go away.
Lewis.
The Bears just signed him, and I know it's for blocking, but I'm like, just retire. You're like 40 years old.
But that is the draft board. We're done. 10 rounds. Draft board.
I don't love my team.
You don't love it?
I don't love it. I'm fine with it. I think it's solid.
I don't like your team either.
I want the Jonathan Taylor pick back.
Who would you take there differently?
London.
Okay.
I had to go London. and then
Or would
instead
you
of
take Smith?
taking no, I'd go London. I like London there a lot. And then instead of DJ Moore, I would have snagged like probably like a Derrick Henry, and I would have felt much better. I would have felt much better about that build. 2 picks I'd like to swap. But otherwise, I'm fine with it. It works.
There's your
I
first
hate
offer.
There it is. I hate being like 11, 12 in startups and 12 teams. I hate it because, again, the quarterback, it gets so thin and there's a massive tier break. And like I'm in a startup or a rookie draft, there's no scenario where I take Anthony Richardson over Bijan. So I'm not going to do it here. I'm not going to trade Anthony Richardson or I'm not trading AJ Brown for Anthony Richardson. So I'm not going to do it here. And like, it's very unenjoyable. That's it.
But I think I think this does show you the advantage that you have in the top half because you're able to grab that stud quarterback off the rip. And then I just feel like ADP just kind of nicely follows you throughout the rest of the draft, by you're able to you don't really have to reach on players to grab the guys that you really, really like, a half round early or a whole round early because you're on the opposite turn and it just feels like a weird mid-tier. Every single player that you're taking is just a middle tier guy. I just feel like, the top of the draft just kind of folds nicely for you to still take players that are highly valued, but also players that you want at either the start of tiers or at the end of tiers.
Yeah, it's very different. Being able to position yourself is nice. And also, when you can trade inside of your draft, it opens up a lot more flexibility, like understanding where the breaks are. Yeah. That's the biggest piece because a lot of people just trade blindly. Like, oh, I want this one exact player right here. You didn't have to do that. You got 6 other players in that tier. It's fine. But people jump into the middle of tiers instead of the end of tiers. And that's, I think, usually a mistake.
I like this draft a lot, though. I like it a lot. Boom.
I agree. Do you want to answer a couple of questions or do we want to get out of here?
Let's see. What questions we got? Anybody got any questions?
Should I throw them out there? If not, no, I don't. I'm paying attention. I have no control over the chat. If there's anything in there, answer it. If not, throw it in there. Otherwise, we can wrap.
John traded Daniel Jones for Saquon, and he already has Lawrence and Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson.
Yes.
Like, I wish I had like 8 more hands so I can give you 10 thumbs up on that one.
I mean, look at the ADP just from this league. It's basically 2 rounds.
Yeah.
3, 1, 4, 12. It's basically a 2-round gap. That's a good deal. It's a great deal.
Yep. I absolutely love that.
All right.
1 o'clock on the dot, too. That was basically like an hour stream. That was perfect.
It was an hour stream.
It was just perfect. There's no better way that could have shaken out.
No notes.
I love it.
All right.
I'm terrible at endings. Are you good at endings?
No. Well, just kill it. It's done.
Oh, do I just hit end?
See you guys.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Friday night we'll be streaming again. Well, at least I'll be streaming. I don't know if Justin's going to join me, but
maybe. And I don't know what Friday looks like.
we'll see. So we got the stream on Friday, and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us, mocking with us, doing this whole entire exercise. And we'll talk to y'all later.